in the city of angels. Dwight with Mike to the torch from his cradle. Jess from Father, spiritual and bright, guiding the vibes, bring wisdom to the night. Telling a story where hearts connect, from LA to Florida with love and respect. Telling a story with soul to soul, Dwight and Jess, yeah, making a
Hello. Welcome back to another Tell 'em the Story.
On the story.
This is episode 3, guys. How are you doing?
I am feeling really good. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm really happy that your spirit guides placed it on your heart to reach out to do this with me. Like, it's so cosmic that I really was like thinking like, okay, I want to do back podcasting, but what does that look like? Like, I don't want to do it by myself. Like, how does that look? And this was just perfect. Like, all the pieces just fell into place. So I'm super excited about our partnership on this.
I couldn't agree more. And I think it comes down to like energy and collective, right? When we talk about like, how do we raise the vibration? And I think that we can raise the vibration by transforming ourselves and transforming the world around us. And we can maybe get to those places quicker, faster, perhaps alone, but sustainability and maintenance, kind of, you can't keep it there. You can't perhaps stay in those places without other people. So I'm just grateful that you decided to say yes and like go with it. I was like jumping for joy because I didn't know. When I asked you, I wasn't quite sure. Yeah.
Have I ever told you no?
I mean, I feel like you have. I just am trying to think of when.
I don't think I've ever told you no about anything. I can think of. Yeah, maybe like, work-wise, but this is not hustle episode, okay? Although I do want to say this, I didn't say this last week. When it comes to your hustle, and you kind of just tapped on it now, it's okay to hustle with someone else. You know, like, you don't have to do it alone. The journey is so much easier if you have someone that you're aligned with and someone that balances and supports you. My business partner is a Cancer. It's amazing. Her Cancer energy bounces off my Capricorn energy. We've never had a fight. We're able to have disagreements without fighting, to actually have a dialogue. And I know people are like, oh, we're going to fight with people. I've never been a person that got into a fight at work. Like, I've been upset at work, but I know how to communicate without like fighting, you know?
Oh, I've gotten into a fight at work.
A fist fight?
Not like a fist fight, not like a physical, like interaction, but in my business. Yeah. In my business. I mean, it's kind of, like lingering from the last episode, but yeah, I've totally had to like really get, which takes a lot. You know me, working with me, that like, can you imagine? But like, when you get to that point, it's just an energy exchange of like, we're not aligned. And I think that's like the whole thing is like, you're aligned to work with certain people and perhaps not.
Well, if you're not aligned, you don't need to work with them. So that's very key. But
yeah.
Anywho, let's move right along. Just question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
What's your favorite color?
This is a great question. My favorite color is red.
Really?
Yes. What were you thinking I was going to say?
Yellow.
Really? So
that's my favorite color. I thought we had the same favorite color. We're not aligned. I'm sad.
We're done. This podcast
is over.
No, but this is actually this is a great question that I learned from somebody who actually works within auras, right? So I am a channeling Reiki master. I'm a psychic. I'm a medium. And so I'm very immersed in all the intuitive languages, right, of energy. And I learned this from somebody that sees auras, that a really fun question that you can ask people is, when you think of me, what color do you think of? So I'm going to ask you that. When you think of me, what color do you think of, Dwight?
Not red.
What do you think of? No, most people don't think of red when they think of me.
Yellow or orange.
Yellow or orange. Okay. So what do you think of?
Or blue.
What do you, out of those colors? Now you're like rainbow, but what color?
I mean, look at your hair. It's kind of hard to pick a color.
For anybody that's listening, I do have rainbow hair. I have rainbow hair because I can't decide which color really is my favorite.
So how about I ask you that question? What color do you think of when you think of me?
Yeah. So what color so for example, when I think of you, I see the color purple.
That's crazy. You want to know what's insane?
Tell me.
So when I meditate, I always see purple.
All right, so let's go into chakras, which could be a different episode, but
Like
just
I
kind of.
always like I see
Mhm.
purples moving, and I challenge myself. It's so weird. It's like I go back to being a kid. I notice that because even when your eyes are closed, you still kind of blink a little bit, like they move a little. Or do your eyes
Mhm.
move a little?
When I meditate,
Like when your eyes are closed, yeah.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
they move a little
like
bit, and I
so
also like
like
I move in my
so
body.
when my
Mhm.
eyes move a little, I notice the purples goes away or it starts over small again. But
Mm.
the stiller I stay, the bigger the purple gets. So I challenge myself not to move my eyes at all, just to see how far this purple will expand. So I actually see like purple when I meditate, which is so. And I'm like, and at one point I was like, maybe I'm going to see like more colors. I've never gotten beyond purple. Well, no, I've seen white before too. I've seen white.
Well, so that is an indication, and we can totally have like fun with like, this on even different episodes. So stay tuned to come for telling the story. But purple connects us to the crown chakra, which is our connection to faith, to God, spirit, the universe, whatever you define that higher source energy. Purple, though, is also very deeply connected in its roots to royalty and to self love and rejuvenation. So when you're in that space, and I think that for me, where I energetically just see you is you're definitely a person that gives me faith, right? You always help to inspire me. You have that beautiful, like, affirmation of create your greatness. And you always, just remind me to love myself. And so when I look at you, that's the color that I see is this like being in this higher expression of like it that is inspiring me to be in that space too, right? You said when you see me, I'm like between yellow, blue, and orange. No, but first you said yellow, which is bright. That's happiness. That's cheerfulness. That's solar plexus chakra. That is how we what we desire, our connection to self. So it's really interesting. But typically, the color that we might be drawn to is usually the chakra or the energy center that we perhaps need to balance and work on. So for me, red is connected to grounding, stability, to feeling present, and to just being in this moment and feeling really secure. And I struggle with a lot of those things. So that is a frequency that I really crave is to feel present, to feel grounded. So, it's very fascinating.
That's so fascinating.
And for you, what was your favorite color? Yellow or
Yellow.
orange?
Yellow is my favorite
Yellow.
color. Yeah.
So for you, for that's like an area for you is to really value your self-worth, for you to really value feeling confident, being bold, following through. Like all of those are really good things for you to maintain and that are really important for you and how you live out your existence in the world around you.
So what about people that are like, my favorite color is black?
Heart chakra. Certain Tibetan cultures are connected to the heart. So that is actually like and also when we think about black, when we add black to let's say like, to red or any other color, it intensifies it. It makes it even deeper. So like what I love about like for me even black, like when I wear black, like I feel that deep connection, that intensity of like that boldness. But it's heart chakra, which is so beautiful when we look at it like that.
Oh wow.
Hmm.
Okay. Guys, I want to hear from you what your favorite colors are.
Yeah.
I don't know how y'all gonna reach out to us, but I want to hear from you.
Just tell them the story of how to reach
Tell
out
the
to
story.
us.
Okay. Yeah. Read the
Mhm.
comments. Yeah. Read the
Just
comments.
like a question for you, what's your favorite number?
My favorite number is 9.
Oh, and aren't you a 9? You're a
Yeah.
9. I thought that I was a 9. It turns out that I'm actually a 7.
Mm.
Mhm.
So my favorite numbers are 3497.
3497.
Not in
Do you
that order.
mind
I don't know why I said it.
why do you mind me asking?
So 3 is Jacob. I recently
Mm.
adopted that one as a favorite.
Oh.
4 is Beyonce. So whenever I see the number 4, I stop what I'm doing and I declare something I'm manifesting. I speak it into existence whenever I see number 4.
Mm.
Whenever I see the number 7, um, I feel, and you had me do this. You had me pick an object, or you told me a number years ago that
Yep.
I should pick for certain purposes. I forgot what the
Yep.
purpose was, but when I see a 7, it's the universe telling me I'm on the right track, and it's my mentor confirming
Mm,
for me that he's close.
I
And when
love
I see
that.
the 9, I view 9 as confirmation that I'm on the right track. I'm doing what I need to do. And just recently, 3 was added into the bunch. So when I see 3, I feel
Yeah,
like it's sending me a message.
I
Either
love
3 or
that.
horses. He
Oh,
sees
it's
horses too.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And if you look at so like the way that I came up with 7 is actually like if you add your birthday year and then you like do all this like math that I don't know how to explain, but I will stay tuned for a different episode because there is a way in numerology where you basically take your day of birth and your year and you add it up and then I forget exactly what it
Look at
is.
you
That's
doing math, though. Look at you.
how
You saying you're going to
doing
do
it
it.
so
I like
doing it
it.
so
But
but
no,
if
that's
you
a
look
step. That's amazing. That's
but
amazing.
if you look at just like your birthday, like 1 plus 8 for me, I'm the 18th Capricorn energy, so that could equal to 9. But when you actually look it up from a numerology standpoint, which I'm not a numerologist, but like you can add up your birthday year, and that's how it'll tell you actually a little bit about yourself too, which is really quite interesting. But numbers are super important, just like colors, of how they speak to us, and anything I think that we give context to. I think that that's important too to just know is that you can be your own spiritual Google.
I see you exploring numerology in the
Oh
future.
gosh. I mean, I have to get good at math. Maybe that's part of my hurdle, right?
Maybe it will make you like it.
I don't know
Because I
what's
don't know
going
if
to make
it's
me
not,
like
I
it.
don't think it's not you're good at math. I think you don't like math.
I don't like it. And also
Exactly.
too, but if Leonardo DiCaprio told me that it was a deal breaker for us to be together,
What if
if
Leonardo DiCaprio was your math teacher?
then I wouldn't learn any math. I would not learn any math whatsoever.
Almost choked on my drink. Tell him the story, Dwight, how you almost died on the show, choking off of your drink. Uh, no,
But yeah,
what if like for every answer you got right, he gave you a kiss?
that would be a lot of pressure, and I'd have to really get good at math. You know what? And I really want to know from the audience who here like thrives in math, because if you thrive in math and like that is your vibe, then I'm ready for us to connect. I'm ready for us to get together and do the thing.
I want Leo to be your math teacher. I want you because guys, also Jessica's an actress. I want you to get cast in this movie where you go back to college. You know this this
You gotta start.
this
You gotta
Reiki,
start. You
this
gotta start
Reiki
even like before that.
this Reiki instructor goes back to college, and her math teacher is played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
I would have been an accountant. That's the trajectory that would have happened there.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
here for it. I think I totally here for it. Like I think Leo and you, him teaching you math would be great. I'm gonna
Mhm.
manifest that for you that you are going to have the opportunity
So,
to learn math by Leo.
who do you want to teach you math? Is my question.
Oh, I'm good at math. I just don't like it.
Oh, that is such a cop out. All right, so better yet, here we go. Who do you want to do your math for you?
Okay, who I want to do the math for me?
That you will watch them do the math and you'll get like super into it. You won't be on your phone. You won't be
Whoever
your
did Trump's
Capricorn.
taxes can do my taxes. That's how I want to do my math. Whoever did Donald Trump's, okay? Yeah. Whoever did his, yeah. You can do.
With,
Tell them
with,
the story. Tell them the story how I got away with not paying no taxes.
let me just say this. I'm not even going to get political, but if we could just note that the sheer confidence that that man has of just like, yeah, yep, not going to pay my taxes, going to
Yeah, I
be,
said I've never paid taxes.
and also like just like where they're at, and they're like, yep, and I'm going to still run for president. I mean, that takes again the level of confidence that inspired
The level of confidence and the
that.
level of manifestation and speaking things to existence because it worked for him before. I'm just gonna say this. I don't understand, like, even when have been unemployed, I've had to pay taxes. So like how do you pay taxes on nothing? Okay. Yet this person, to my knowledge, is a multimillionaire who is never, even when I don't have an income, the government is like, oh no, you have an income. You're gonna pay something. Like, what the hell?
I know it's so messed up. It's so messed up. But what's gonna be the story? Tell them the story. What's gonna be the story?
So today's story is um, um,
I'll go for
love,
it.
loss, and lessons.
Yeah, love,
Yeah,
loss, and lesson.
love,
I love
loss, and
that.
lessons. Yeah.
So, you know what? We're dedicating definitely this episode
Yes.
to the divine soul that brought us together, Jacob. So that is, I think, a great story of where we can even start with as we take a pause and take a break is to come back and talk about how this person particularly united us in love. Greetings, inspired community. It's Jess with Just Be Inspired. If you're looking to bring balance and positivity into your life, I'm here to support you. Through my Reiki sessions and handpicked selected of healing crystals, I will help to guide and align your mind, body, chakras, and spirit. Whether you're new to energy work or have been on this journey of healing for a while, I have the tools to help you feel centered and empowered. Visit JessBeInspired.com or follow me at JessBeInspired, and let's heal together. I can't wait to help you stay inspired. All right.
All right, and we are back. So today's episode are, do we say episodes in the podcast world?
I don't know.
Potty
To show?
It's a potisode.
You know what? Let's coin that. It's a potty suit.
Potisode.
Although it does sound like we're like training
It sounds
your
like we're training
nephews
for
or
the bathroom.
yeah.
It sounds like we need a potty break. But yeah, so today's episode is Love Lost Lessons, and we dedicate it to the incredible Jacob, who is not just a friend. Jacob is my brother, as I wear his necklace he gave me. And he ascended a couple months ago, and it has been really, really tough.
Really tough.
You know, I've actually been scared about this particular episode, you know, because.
Can I speak to that for just a moment? I think that the thing when it comes to loss, and I think we really bypass this quite often in the spiritual world without intentionally meaning to, but quite often it's like, well, we always know that they're with us and we always know that they're around. However, I think that nothing can quite make up for that physical loss and that physical presence. Also, I do believe, and I mean that out of love, of I think that people don't exactly know what to say in these situations. But at the end of the day, we're all going to leave this earthly realm. And as much as that's the most organic thing that each and every single one of us are going to do as human beings living on this planet, it feels like the most inorganic, unnatural thing.
Yeah. And it never gets easy.
No.
Like, although we all know it's happening, when it happens, we're all in a state of shock and we're all grieving and we're all trying to process something that we knew would eventually happen, you know?
Exactly. I learned from a therapist, I loved this, that like grief is not just, loss, it's learning how to live again. And that is so, I think, like, how do you live again, especially when you have a person like Jacob that was just such a divine being that was, I'm wearing all the necklaces that you sent me. And I actually want to tell that story of how spirit works through people in honor of Jacob. So, like, a week or two ago, I was driving and that's the thing. What you just said is like, it doesn't ever just go away. I do believe it's like somebody described it to me recently, actually on a podcast, as like this ball and this ball that's getting bounced around and it just has this button and you're not quite sure when the button is going to go off. Some people also describe it as an ocean wave, right? Of just like, you don't know exactly when the ocean tide is really going to come in, but it does hit you in these different phases. And I think it's really important to actually normalize it in that way, because as a society, even as a psychic and a medium, quite often people will say, oh, but that happened years ago. That doesn't mean that it still doesn't live within your reality of what you're experiencing right now. And so there was just a moment where I was driving and I was just really missing Jacob and really just honoring him by playing all of the different songs and the music. And I was really in it and I was just crying and I was having a really hard time. And then I reached out to you And I reached out to our dear friend M, who also is attributed to this episode, but also just this podcast because
I
we
mean,
were,
she's the tell him of the
yeah, she's the tell him. She's
the
the M.
it's
That's,
Emily.
yep, is Emily. And asking for pictures because I just wanted some type of physical connection,
Yeah,
right? Because it was like I could be in the ethereal world, but I wanted some type of tangible thing in that moment, right? And also for me, the grieving process has been very different because I don't have anybody around me that knew Jacob the way that I knew him. And so I just wanted something. And I came home and literally I see this package on the floor by where we put our mail, and it was from you, and it was, and I opened it up and here it is, Jacob's jewelry and card deck, and I just started bawling because it was like I really do believe that spirit works through people, and that to me was spirit working through me and God, universe, whatever you believe in, right?
yeah.
But that was like it working through you, working through me, and then having that tangible thing that I could hold on, that I could wear, was what I needed in that moment in my grief.
Yeah. Have you used the card deck yet?
I have.
You
I
have.
have. I
Okay.
have. And I believe that there's certain card decks, and that card deck for me is going to be only something that I utilize private in my own home. I don't think it's going to be something that I share with others because I feel like that's my sacred connection.
Mm,
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. I know for me, you did Reiki, and you mentioned that he shared with you that he picked this necklace for me, and you didn't even know that I like got a necklace, And when I tell you, I lost it, like lost it, because I feel like everyone's had this like moment of like connecting with him,
Mm.
and I haven't been able to
Mm.
in that sense because I know like when I was maybe like 5 years old, my aunt passed away, my great aunt, but she lived with us, and when she passed, I saw her, and it terrified me.
Oh,
And
wow.
I prayed that I could never like see anyone again. I had that prayer. And it's like ever since then I've never been able to connect or see people like after that.
Mm.
And I had a reading and they spoke about that. Um, I was told that he might like flicker lights or things like that. And I'll never forget the day that he did pass away. I came home and my light in my doorway started flickering.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh, wow. Like, she told me this may happen. Okay. And so I'm like, okay, it's him clearly. And it happened a couple weeks and it stopped. And now it does it like randomly.
Mm.
And I feel like that's his way of like connecting, but I guess still the spirit world honoring my request at 5 when I was terrified of what I seen. But
Mm.
and even now I'm like, do I really want to see?
Mm.
Like I don't honestly know the answer to it,
Yeah.
But I,
Yeah.
I do like even his sister wrote this very beautiful letter and I read it and even she's, been able to connect and find peace and he's comforted her. But I haven't had that yet. And also for me, like I also don't feel like I feel like he's on a vacation or on a really long work trip and that he's gonna be back soon. And
Mhm. Yep.
I don't know if that's a healthy thing for me to do, but it's the thing that really has allowed me to cope for sure.
100%. Well, it's so surreal that you just say this because literally I was downstairs and I'm like, why is my outside light flickering and it's not staying on? And literally I had no idea that that was a sign that you had received um, for Jacob. And literally I just was like, this light, it's not even off. It's just flickering and I turned it off because I was like, it's so bright and it's flickering so much. So what a confirmation right now for even So thank you for sharing, because now I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. I mean, yeah, it is. It's really interesting because we all have these different intuitive gifts. And I think, especially, I've heard this a lot for people who have experienced perhaps seeing, right, loved ones that have ascended, that it can be quite frightening because you don't really know exactly how to work with it, and you don't know exactly the energy. But if you can, like, learn how to work with it, and I don't think it's for everybody. I don't think it's for everybody that we have to dive into that realm. That might be something that is not really feeling like supportive and comforting in that moment, that it's too alarming and it's too much. But if it does bring you comfort, I think that, go towards it. But for you, just because, that's just speaking to one of the senses, which is clairvoyance, the ability to see. But maybe for you, it's something that's more tangible. Maybe it's a smell, maybe it's a hearing, maybe it's a knowing, maybe it's an empathy, maybe it's something that you feel a sensation in your body. I don't think so for you, that's perhaps where you haven't gone towards it, is because it's not maybe the way that spirit really gets to emotionally move you in that way, that
Yeah,
feels comforting and safe.
yeah, perhaps. But this year is just, I mean, just with loss in general. And I mean, I've lost many people, and you have as well, that are very close to you.
And we're pretty young to have this type of significant loss.
Yeah. And I know that as you get older, it happens more and more. It's just, uh, it was just tough. It was tough. Like, and also with Jacob's passing, it was really tough because I felt like I had to be strong for so many other people,
Mm.
because I felt like I was like being, as you said in another episode, popular in our industry. Many
Mhm.
people came to me asking questions like, what happened? When did he pass? When is this? When is that? And I was trying to grieve, and something Emily said to me last week that was super powerful, as I tell your business on this show. I love you, honey. But she was like, I'm just really picky about who I want to grieve with. Like right now, I
Mm.
just want to be alone, or just with you, or just with like just certain people. Like I don't just want to grieve with everyone. And I
Mhm.
think I deserve that choice, and
100%.
I think people take that for granted. Like, don't get me wrong, please reach out, call, text people. But I feel like sometimes people feel obligated, or that they deserve to know every single detail that took place in a person's ascending. And my question for you is, were you a part of their journey completely when they were here? So why do you feel so entitled now to be a
Mm.
part of this journey? And it's not fair. It's not fair to
No.
them, and it's not fair to their loved ones that they left behind.
No, and I think that that's part of also the hard part about, like, grief and loss in general, is that there is that aspect that so many people don't talk about, but that's why it's so important to really think about the people that are in your front row, and to reach out to them and to be a part of their vortex, and to be really respectful. One thing that really irritated me was people, definitely asking, especially with my sister. But one thing that I did not appreciate was, so many people would say to me, "You're so lucky that you're so strong." It's like, this is like the loss of, like, and not to shift gears, but like, my sister passed away
Telling
in
someone they're
2018.
strong is not a compliment, but I will let you continue.
Yeah, and it felt very, and again, people don't know what to say. So, I'm not blaming people in this situation, because it's uncomfy for anybody, and that's why I love that we're going towards it even in this episode, because I think that the way that we have structured grief is very much like, okay, the corporate world, let's get into it. You have this, like, my sister, who was my best friend, one of the loves of my life, right? Like, literally just pass away, and I'm expected to go back into work and really care about the red lipstick that you are sold out of, that, like, like, I just, I couldn't wrap my brain around the fact that this is the amount of time that I had to then normalize my grief, and that we only have these 5 stages that were not even designed for grief. These 5 stages of grief were not even created with the intention of them guiding us through our grief. And so that's where I can understand where people don't know what to say, and I can understand all of that. But I think that it's really important to realize that your grief can look completely different from my grief. Even in this situation, this is our dear friend that brought us together. How you're processing it and how you are dealing with it is very different than how I'm dealing with it. And so we really have to be so mindful of understanding that it is our duty and our obligation to tend to ourselves. And like, for example, I can't really talk to my mom about the grief of my sister, because as soon as I do, it goes right into her grief and my grief gets dismissed. And I don't mean that to diss her in any way, but she's not the person that I can go to for that.
Yeah. And I mean, also, she lost a child, so it's definitely going to be a triggering for her when in that moment as well. We are going to take a break, and I just
I love that.
realized we did not do Name That Story yet, which we are still going to do it before the show ends today.
Let's do it.
But I would love to come back and maybe share with people what you should say.
Yeah,
How do you
that's
manage
great.
someone that's grieving? Let's utilize this
Yeah,
platform to, change
the
that.
lesson.
Yeah.
The lesson. Yeah.
Ready to turn your passion into income? Whether you're a singer, dancer, comedian, or just love connecting with people, the One Appeal Agency on Bigo Live is the place for you. We provide expert support, personalized coaching, and a community that's got your back. Don't wait. Visit hostonbigo.com. That's www.hostonbigo.com and apply today. The One Appeal Agency, where your passion meets opportunity.
All right. And we're back. So do we want to kick it off into our Name That Story? Do we want to end it with that? Or do we want to go into...
Let's end it with that. Let's end it with that.
Okay, we'll end it with it. Yeah.
I always say that because I'm going to get nervous, as I always do, that I'm not going to be able to figure it out. And since we're having to
we will end the show today with Name That Story.
My anxiety is actually not... It's surreal, because like talking about grief, like my anxiety is not talking about this subject. My anxiety is more about naming that story and being able to figure it out.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure you're gonna figure it out.
And it's not to diss Jacob, but I have to actually note that as a number one lesson. Here we go. A number one lesson that I learned of something that you can say that I think is really important when people perhaps are experiencing loss and grief. My mentor, my meditation teacher, who is fantastic and dear friend, one of my mentors, you're a mentor of mine as well, David G, said to me on a call, it was just him and I was talking about my grief, and he said, my hope for you is that you can learn how to live on your sister's legacy. And at that point, I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't there. However, now I am, and now I understand it differently. And I think that when we talk about what I was saying earlier about learning how to live again, everything that I do, or even now to honor Jacob, is I think about what is the legacy that I can live on in their honor. Yeah. So I think that's a really great thing that you can offer somebody, a great insight. And they may not be there. They may not be there.
Yeah, but you can still leave it as a gift. My advice that I'm going to give, and I guess we can go back and forth, is never ask the loved ones that are left behind how the person passed. That is very rude. It's very disrespectful. If they want to share that information with you, they will. You never ultimately know how close someone is to someone else. And there was one person that repeatedly kept asking me over and over again. I kept avoiding the question, kept avoiding it on Instagram over and over again. What happened? Like, what happened? And why is that important? Knowing what happened to them is going to do what for you, So that's something that I think is, very important. And
I think that brings up a really good point right there, because it's like we really don't know the complexities. And I think that this is also another thing that I also feel is, important to not say. Everything happens for a reason. Whew, that's a controversial take right there. But I've realized this is that I think that if that brings you comfort and peace to knowing that there's a reason or something in behind all of this, then please go for it. I do believe that can be very helpful. So I don't want to just criticize that statement. However, I think that there's sometimes that there's very tragic events that have happened that if it's causing you more suffering to attach yourself to why it happened, then perhaps maybe not focus on the reason as much, right? And so that's where I think it's really a judgment call on the individual, because if
I
that
think
does
some
help
people
you,
just being nosy. And I'm just
mhm.
keeping it real. You being real nice, but some people being nosy. You weren't even close to them. Like, what's the line, the movie from Mean Girls, when Damien the girl is like, "Oh, I just want butterflies and everyone to get along," and he's
Oh
like, "You
yeah.
don't even go here. Like, you don't even know them like that. Why do you care?" Like, and I feel like certain people just want to be nosy. I do.
Yep.
Like, I get like close, like friends, intimate, like I get that, and I get if that's gonna offer like closure or peace. But like, you haven't worked with this person in 20 years. Why does it matter to you? You don't
Right.
talk to them on a regular. Like, you knowing this information is gonna do what? Allow
Mhm.
you information to go and gossip about? Yeah, like, so I mean, not to cut you off, but it
But
pisses
think
me
about
off.
it.
It upsets me. It does.
But think about it, but that's what's actually, like, normalized is that somebody's like, you tell somebody, "Oh, they've passed on." What's one of the first questions they ask you? "How?" You know? It's just, "How? How oh my god, I'm so sorry. How did that happen?"
And that's fine. But if the response is I don't know, it's not then you go and do your research and hit up everybody that's connected with them,
But
asking them.
why can't it just stop right there of, "Oh
Yeah,
my god," and it's just like, "Oh my
yeah.
gosh, I how can I support you right now?" Like, that would be a more forward movement if you really cared about the person that's telling you, or if you really cared about the person that has ascended, that could be the narrative to just start, "How can I support you?"
Yeah. All right. Any other tips or advice?
I think that you brought it up earlier. I think it's time. I mean, I'm going to invite you to speak more into that because you did bring that up of time. Like like I do think that that is important to note of why you mentioned, like, like it doesn't end.
Yeah, it doesn't end. I think that, we learn to live without individuals, but like even now, like one of my closest friends, a chosen sister, God rest her soul, Tawana, like I'll I don't even cook a lot anymore because she taught me to cook. So like I'll go to cook something and I'll break down because I miss her and I miss, us laughing and joking and her teasing me about not being able to cook and having to teach me. Um, I mean, I am happy that I was able to write, shameless plug, my first book, Shoulda Coulda Woulda, Inspirational Mistakes Made by Me. And there's a chapter dedicated to her specifically when
Yeah. Yeah.
she taught me how to cook. And so even now it just shows, and that was February of 2020 I lost her. And it just time, and just know that some days you're going to break down and
Mhm.
some days you're going to be strong. It's just it's a
Mhm.
roller coaster. Um I think it's okay to text. I think that texting never gets old, like checking on someone, even if they don't respond. I think people appreciate someone texting them saying, I'm thinking of you, I'm praying for you. Shouts out to Lacey if you're listening. I hope you are listening to this.
Actually, let's do this. This is actually something that we should do right now. Everybody, all the listeners right now, just text somebody that you love right now that maybe could use a little bit of your support. Just text them, "I love you, thank you." Just right now. Maybe it's
Yeah,
just, I'm going to do that right now.
I am too.
Let's
Let's
just
take
do it.
someone. I love them. I'm thinking of you. But Lacey was such a champion in that. And she was grieving as well because she was so close to him. But I think she definitely respected our friendship because she knew we were, a little bit closer. Not to say they weren't, but, she knew our relationship and she was very mindful of that. And I appreciated her checking on me, even if I didn't get a chance to respond.
Yep. I think that, that's the thing is that people just want to be acknowledged. People just want to be seen. I mean, if you look at even just the trend of social media and in general as a whole, it's created such a I mean, for me personally, I'm very grateful for my social media platform because we do go towards things like that are, you know, a little bit of a, if you like, this is great. I love this podcast, but you know, if you follow Dwight and myself on all of our socials, you know, the context and the content can look very different. But you know, people do want to be seen, they want to be included, they want to feel heard. I mean, that's just part of the human experience. And so even if you don't respond, it's just nice to have that, to just have that acknowledgement of, especially when we're struggling. And if we actually break down, another just quick thing would be to be compassionate.
Mm,
Compassion literally
passion.
means compassion literally means to like that you were to suffer with. So when I'm saying to you, I am compassionate for whatever you're going through, you are literally rooting for that person's suffering to end
Yeah,
because you are
it's
saying, I'm
come bring
suffering
me some
with.
passion. Compassion. Compassion me, baby.
Listen, in honor of Jacob, that is so Jacob right there. That's so Jacob.
Compassion me, daddy. Okay?
Yes, that is so Jacob. That was a Jacob interrupt. Instead of a pattern interrupt, that was a Jacob interrupt right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
compassion me, daddy. Something else that I would say is it's okay to send people food
Please
because
send people food.
because honestly, oftentimes they're not eating,
Mm-mm.
because they're grieving. Last thing we do is cook. So yeah, like send them a dish, send them a meal, our
Mhm.
flowers,
Or
just
wine.
yeah, our wine,
Just saying.
or if you live in a state where it's legal, other things.
For sure. For sure. For sure.
If
For
it's
sure.
legal, send them other things or let them use your ID to go and get it.
Or go get it for them.
Or go get it for them. Yes, just don't mail it. But yeah.
Wait, hold on. I have a really funny quick story to segue just because I think this is great.
Tell
My
them the
mom,
story. Tell them the
my
story.
my mom, tell me the story. My mom, this is something that Jacob would totally approve. My mom got pulled over by the cops, and you know, she has a license to, you know, recreational, you know, usage of things. Anyways, and so she handed the cop a particular card versus her license.
And what happened?
The officer like let her go and was like, "That's not what I need, ma'am. I need your license." And then asked her how she got it and like where she was getting her stuff from and if it was any good. So it was just awesome because she ended up making a full 360 connection of
Oh
like
my
that they
God.
wanted to like, yeah, they were on board. Yeah.
I'm so here for it. Oh my God. Is there anything else you want to add on as far as, I guess, grieving etiquette? Um, Before we go into name that story, because she's trying to
Just
get out of it, guys.
just love yourself. Love yourself harder.
Well, we're giving people advice to help others.
Yeah, I think that that
So
starts
love
with helping.
themselves first
Yeah,
before I
love
reach
your
out to you.
yeah, I think it's really important
Okay.
to I think
You
well, I
should
think
love
it's like
yourself first. That makes sense. Yeah.
I think because we judge ourselves so harshly, especially in like it's like especially if we think that we're doing something wrong or we feel like something's harder, I think we really judge ourselves. So I think it's really important to actually start there, like of advice of how
That
you
makes
can
sense.
help others is to actually really love yourself even harder.
And it's okay if you make, because it's out of habit. Well,
Mm.
I've gotten better at it, but I used to be one of those people who like, what happened? How'd it happen? You know, I think it's the Nancy Drew in us. We all just want to know what happened. Darn it. Mm, I gave it away.
That was gonna be your clue.
but but it's the Nancy Drew in us. But yeah,
I
it's
wouldn't have gotten that. I wouldn't have gotten that. See, this is why I wanted to wait to the end. Do you have another
fine.
one
We'll do
on
another.
hand? Okay.
Of course, I have another one on hand.
Why am I
So
even asking? You're a
we're gonna.
Capricorn.
Hello. So now we're ready for name that
I'm
story.
just glad it wasn't Nancy Drew because I would have messed that
All
one
right.
up.
So this is your first time listening to our podcast. All right. This is my favorite part of the show. It's where
It's my least favorite part of the show.
it's where I choose a story, whether it's a novel, a book, or maybe a random story, and I drop hints and clues, and guess who has to guess what the story is?
Oh my god. I
Jessica.
hate this. This is the
And you
worst.
hate it, and you've gotten it right for 2 weeks in a row now.
Oh, great. Now you're even setting me up for more failure. I love
All
it.
right.
Go for it.
So
Okay,
the
go
first
for it.
hint is this story is one of the oldest known to humanity.
Oh God, I'm already screwed. Go
It
ahead.
takes place in a garden with a man and a woman. The main characters,
This is getting worse as we go on.
the main characters were considered the first man and woman created by God.
Oh, okay, okay,
Right?
okay, okay.
A
Got it.
serpent convinces the woman to eat fruit from a forbidden tree.
Typical. Typical.
This act leads to the couple being banished from the magical garden and marks
Yeah.
the beginning of human knowledge of good and evil. Name that story.
You know what is so messed up is that like I know this story, but I don't even know this story. But Adam and Eve, right?
Yes.
Like
It's Adam and Eve.
how oh my god, well what is even more amazing is that like where I really heard this story was from my aunt who's a Jehovah Witness who I'm pretty sure thinks that everything that I do is like witchcraft. So to have that story first told to me from my aunt, and like God, bless her, like that's her jam as being a Jehovah Witness. But I was like, wow, this is really fascinating to hear. But I was like, what is going on with this story? This is messed up. Like, yeah, typical. Tempted again. Toxic male energy. What's that?
I
Toxic.
just have a question. Like,
Yeah.
when Morgan Freeman walked to the garden, was he wearing the white suit? Because like they have him like wear the white like suit,
Oh
very
yeah.
very like Barack Obama, like no tie. It's like the button down, like the crisp
Linen.
linen.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
like I wonder, was he wearing a linen suit or was he also naked?
I'm imagining, and this is like really not okay, but like I'm like I don't have like a crush on Morgan Freeman, but right now I am crushing
Oh
on
my
Morgan
god,
Freeman.
really? He's a grandfather.
I'm crushing on Morgan Freeman because I'm having a different image of him. I'm having an image of Morgan Freeman just wearing like
Naked in the garden?
leaves, like completely like ripped, like abs ripped, body ripped, and just covered in like leaves in certain areas. That's the vision
I think it's
that
a
I'm
sin
holding.
to picture God that way.
I'm picturing Morgan Freeman playing God in that way. Ripped, worked with
And
a
on that
personal
note,
trainer,
I'm gonna
you
go
know,
tell Leo that you're cheating on him.
with Morgan Friedman. What
Leo,
just in this context, you know what I mean? Just in
Leo's
this
gonna be
context.
so hurt. He's gonna be so hurt.
Wait, but just before we end, who is your celebrity like that? I mean, I know a
My
couple, but
celebrity crush.
yeah, you're number one. You're number one.
He's no longer with us. Paul Walker.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you do love Paul Walker.
I love Paul Walker. And then my other one, Luke Perry. See, celebrities don't need me to have crushes on them. Because if Dwight crushes you, something happens. Like, and
They're
speaking
waiting for you.
of Luke Perry, like Shannon Doherty,
Oh
who you
yeah.
remind me so much of. I've always thought that.
Really?
Yeah, when I first met you, I always had this like Brenda Walsh vibe. But everyone
I
didn't
don't
like
I've never
Brenda Walsh, so I've never told you that because everyone doesn't like. But she was my first favorite actress.
I
Yeah.
have to, I thought about watching. I've never watched 90210, but I thought about watching it
Oh,
in
you're
your
such a Brenda.
honor.
You're
I've
such.
thought it I've totally thought about watching it in your honor recently, so I feel like that's what I'm gonna do
If
this
you want to
evening, is
make
I'm
me
gonna watch it.
happy and we do like a Halloween episode, you should come dressed as Brenda Walsh. Because she's still like, so like I'm totally in my Brenda Walsh era right now. Like I totally be rocking my like oversized blazers, like all my outfits. And
I
now that
love
I
it.
live in LA, like I'm so channeling her because like I've always wanted to live in California because of Brenda and Dylan. So like when I leave and go places, I intentionally dress like Brenda. Even today, I'm like inspired by Jacob and Brenda.
I love that. I love that. You wanna know something really surreal? And then I know that, like, we're coming up on time, but I'm just gonna say this. Do you know what's really crazy is that I used to work at a speakeasy, which is, for anybody out there, I think most of us know what they are, but these after hour, like, clubs and I used to work at one, and the person who was part of the owner was actually Shannon Doherty's ex-fiance.
Wow.
that I'm friends with on Facebook. So when she ascended, I, reached out to them, but it was just really surreal because I had no idea that you really loved
No, like
Brenda so much, and that I have
love,
like this like
love, love,
connection.
love, love. I'm surprised I didn't grieve as hard as I grieved with her passing. And I think because been grieving so much, but I
Right.
really was definitely affected. But when Luke Perry passed, lost it. Paul Walker lost it. So celebrities, you don't want me to have a crush on you. I'm just going to say that. Like, you just don't want me to crush on you.
So then you can start to think of the celebrities that you're so over that maybe you should start crushing on. That's the moral of the story right here.
Donald Trump is so hot. Oh my God. That orange bronzer makes my teeth wet.
Can I just say on that note, can we get like a really hot, like, like elected, like like I'm here for that. I'm really here for that. Like a hot man,
So I had a crush on George Bush. I think George Bush is so sexy.
I don't have a crush on, I really don't, I
think
know.
Abraham Lincoln was hot too.
One of my friends really loved I just found out really loves Benjamin Franklin. Didn't realize that. I was like, wow, we're going big.
I think George Washington might have been hot too. I mean,
I think George Washington might have been hot
minus
as well.
the wooden teeth thing. But
Wait, he had wooden teeth?
Yes, he had wooden teeth. Minus the wooden teeth, like he would get splinters in like your tongue if you made out. Like, I think he may have been actually really attractive. And our show has run over. So thank you guys for listening in. We love you so much.
Love you.
Another. Tell them the
story.
I can't tell them the story how George Washington got splinters in my teeth. I mean, in my tongue.
Or other places, on that note.